Revolutionary greetings, comrades. It's a right Sunday, the 30th of April 2023. As part of our Red Sunday, we are looking into the current conflict in Sudan. We are following closely on our TV screens, on social media, on the events that are happening in Sudan. Comrade Ian Bidos, our commissar, prepared a document for us so that we have a better understanding of what is happening in Sudan. And I want to thank him for taking his time to do a research. We will split this presentation in 2 or 3 videos so that we do not take long or record long videos. This will assist us to understand what is currently happening in Sudan. But what Comrade Ian Bidos suggested was that firstly we look into the historical background of Sudan so that we have an understanding as opposed to only talking about the current situation. But it is important that we have this historical background of Sudan. Comrade Bidos starts by a brief quote from the press statement that was issued by the Sudanese Communist Party on the 19th of April 2023. He says, I quote, "The miserable reality that the masses are living due to the chaotic war unleashed by the generals among themselves," close quote. That's what the Sudanese Communist Party says in its statement. So it defines the current conflict in Sudan, that it is the generals that are fighting amongst themselves. But we'll deal then with these issues later on in the last episode of this presentation. So let's get to the historical background of Sudan, as suggested by our great commissar, Comrade Bidos. He says the territory of what now consists of the Republic of Sudan and the Republic of South Sudan, which gained independence in 2011, was conquered by Egypt by the year 1874. Although Egypt was formerly a province of the Ottoman Empire, the provisional governor of Egypt, Mohammed Ali, adopted the title of Khedive and ruled Egypt from 1805 to 1848. He died the following year. In 1820 to 1824, Mohammed Ali captured most of Sudan. His grandson, the Khedive Ismail Pasha, completed the conquest of Sudan by 1879. The Suez Canal was built by the French with European finance in 1869. The British, who controlled the Cape route around Africa, were at first hostile, but by 1875, Khedive Ismail Pasha avoided bankruptcy by selling the Egyptian share of the Suez Canal to the British government. Within 3 years, British and French financial controllers sat in the Egyptian cabinet and became the real power in its government. From 1877 to 1879, Britain Army Officer General Charles George Gordon became Governor General of Sudan, a position previously held by Egyptians. Obvious foreign control of the Egyptian government led to a nationalist uprising led by Army Officer Ahmed Urabi. Khedive Ismail Pasha was forced to concede to nationalist pressure, but in 1879, he was removed by the British and replaced by his more compliant son, Khedive Tiwivik Pasha. Nevertheless, Ahmed Urabi became prime minister in July 1882. The British replied to this by invading the defeated Egyptian nationalists at the Battle of Tel al-Kabi in September 1882. In 1881, a Nubian from northern Sudan, a Sufi mystic called Muhammad Ahmed, declared himself the Mahdi, that is the guided, the Islamic Messiah, and organized a movement which by 1883 controlled most of Sudan. In 1884, General Gordon was sent to evacuate European and Egyptian civilians from Khartoum, the Sudanese capital, and was seeing the evacuation of foreign nationals in Sudan, in Khartoum today. But as I said, we'll deal with that later on. In defiance of orders, he stayed there to defend the city and was killed by the Mahandis after a long siege. 6 months later, the Mahandi himself died unexpectedly of a waterborne disease. Leadership of the Mahandis was then assumed by Abdullah ibn Muhammad, who was known as Caliphate al-Mahid, or simply the Caliph. He was also the leader of the Ansar Sufi religious movement. This independent religious state was to rule Sudan until a joint British force defeated the Caliph at the back of Ottoman in 1898. In 1899, a British-Egyptian condominium was formed and the whole territory was named Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. As a result of the First World War of 1914 to 1918, the Ottoman Empire fell and Turkey lost the last vestiges of imperial control over both Egypt and Sudan. Anglo-Egyptian Sudan was nominally under the King of Egypt, but in reality, the whole territory of Sudan was run as a British Crown colony until independence in 1956. The British recognized the huge difference, the huge cultural difference between the Arabized Muslim North, which had historical affinities to ancient Egypt, long before the arrival of Islam, and the largely nomadic cattle-herding cultures of the South, in which it was normal in some ethnic groups for people to remain unclothed and to worship the spirits of nature. Christian, mainly Protestant missionaries had a strong impact on the people of southern Sudan during the colonial period. Following the overthrow of the Egyptian monarchy and the beginning of its own genuine independence in 1952, Egypt renounced any claim on Sudan. So that's a brief historical background before we talk about the independence of Sudan. So we thought, as guided by Comrade Ian Bidos, that we deal with this historical background so that we have a better understanding of what is happening in Sudan. In the next video, we are then going to deal from the Sudanese independence, which it obtained on the 1st of January 1956. So that will be the second episode, before we then conclude on what is currently happening in Sudan. I know that comrades in the African Diaspora Forum, we have some that are from Sudan and some that are from the region where this war is happening. We'll appreciate if you were to share us your own experiences. You might be talking to families that are in Khartoum or in Sudan or even in neighboring countries in that region. Please share your own experiences, your own views on what is happening in Sudan. Otherwise, comrades, have a great day. Red salute, Amandla, comrades. Please do not forget to subscribe in this YouTube channel so that you do not miss out on the next episode of what is happening in Sudan. We'll do further 2 videos. So subscribe so that you do not miss out. Please circulate this video. Goodbye, comrades.